That's how I headcanon it. And until they explicitly fuck that, that's how it's explained to me.
I agree. I rationalised it exactly the same way in my head. Yeah.
I feel like it's forcing them to grow up really quickly, even though they're supposed to be like the kids that don't grow up. I feel like forcing this on them has made them like change in really interesting ways.
He becomes sort of the David of this series in terms of like, you know, he's possessed by it, but maybe there's a part of him in there or something.
Yeah.
He's kind of enjoying this.
Yeah,
new
like he's satiated by it, even though it's horrific. There's really no time for any kind of crappy Full Fat Podcast intro this week because we've got so much to get through.
Too much.
We've not only got 2 shows to get through, we've got 2 episodes of each, just because of the way they've all fallen. It's like UK gets Alien Earth on a Wednesday, then Peacemaker on a Friday, and then we've been busy. So yeah, we doubled up Alien Earth episodes 1 and 2. Now we're going to double up 3 and 4. We're going to double up Peacemaker 1 and 2. And then we're going to have to double up Alien Earth 5 and 6 and Peacemaker 3 and 4 because we're both busy next week. So then the following week, we're going to have 2 weeks till the next podcast. Then we're going to double that up.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, I guess, Alien Earth episodes 7 and 8 will get their own reviews.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward how it's fallen.
It's a nightmare. Weird times to release it as well.
Yeah.
Weird times.
I don't feel like Alien in August. But then Alien Romulus was August last year, wasn't it? So
it's weird. I do feel like they're releasing a lot more horrors in August at the moment. We've had so many horrors in August this year.
I guess it's trying to cap off counter programming to end the summer, maybe.
Yeah.
Guess, but TV's different, so I don't know. Anyway, you know what? Dealer's choice. Do you want to talk about Alien Earth first, or do you want to talk about?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go for Alien Earth.
Alien Earth.
Yeah, let's do it.
So 3 and 4, I think continuing strong. I really like some of the stuff that's happened with Wendy, some of the developments with some of the other kids, particularly the ginger guy. I think her name's Nibs. Is it Nibs? Something like that. And Slightly, especially his interactions with the cyborg Morrow, and also Morrow. We've learned a lot more about him, and it's gotten a lot more sinister. I think that's been really interesting.
He's a great character already. I'm really interested to see where that's going.
It's been strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also we got a little bit more of the other test subject aliens, like the eye monster took over that sheep.
Yep.
Really intriguing moment where it instinctively becomes bipedal, making me think that it's possessed maybe humans even before. So that'll be interesting.
That's an interesting point.
I think my only concern at the moment is once episode 4 had finished, I was kind of like, we are halfway through the season. And like...
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Do you know what I mean? Like I guess it's a lot of setup at the moment. Some interesting things have developed, but like, I wonder where we're going to go in the second half. Because I feel like where we're at, it feels more appropriate for maybe like a 12 episode season where we're like a third in. But halfway in, you know, is that... What you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, especially when
there's still a lot to play for, but
especially when each week it feels like we're getting introduced kind of new ideas. Like this week we kind of had, like you said, the idea of the sheep. You know, it's kind of, it seems like it's very intelligent as well. But also we had, was it last week's episode when she started speaking in the sort of alien language. The Xenomorph's language, which I think is one of the most interesting things so far that's happened in the show. I'm very intrigued where that goes and how that's going to play down. I tell you what I am enjoying so far as well is I do feel like they are paying like homage to the Ridley Scott prequels in a few things. So I was thinking about this more and more. So I feel like the Ice Age thing feels a lot like the Lawrence of Arabia thing. For me, in terms of they're truly they're trying to make it feel
Earth culture is still important to human beings in this future.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked was the it's Morrow, isn't it?
The cyborg.
Yeah. He quoted David by saying, "Don't let the bed bugs bite" in one of the episodes. Which I was like, okay, I appreciate that as well. So. But I think there's one thing we should talk about, which is obviously a lot of people talking about the fact that that basically that they're rewriting, you know, Covenant and stuff. And, Prometheus.
With Morrow. Yeah. So it's established, isn't it, that he left for his mission 65 years ago, and kind of echoing Ripley, he's now lost out of time. And that's why he's so hell-bent on finishing his mission, because he feels like his life's work is kind of the only thing he has left.
Yep.
We can get a little bit more in a second into what he tells Slightly about, like having a daughter.
Yeah.
So it kind of implies that if it was 65 years ago and Covenant and Prometheus are set in that time, and he captured a xenomorph 65 years ago, then went into hypersleep, then the events of Covenant cannot be canon to this, because Covenant is where David is sort of revealed as the father of the xenomorph. But then even that is kind of contested by fans. I know there's some fans that really love that, and I think it has meaning that we create the synthetics who create the xenomorphs. I think that holds a lot of weight, and I think particularly the character of David creating them makes perfect sense, and I think it's a great story, and I know you feel the same with that. Yeah. But there's also a camp of fans that I think don't like that, and therefore their denial and excuse for it is that David created his own batch of xenomorphs, but xenomorphs have still existed beforehand. And the kind of evidence for that is there's some murals on the walls in the ship in Prometheus that sort of look like a xenomorph. But I would argue that stuff looks like the xenomorph-esque creature that bursts out at the end of Prometheus. I don't think that necessarily negates the idea that specifically this type of creature known as the xenomorph is produced by David. But anyway, this whole kind of like canon altering stuff, I saw a lot of chatter before I watched the episode that it had rewritten canon, and obviously we've spoken about this before on the podcast that we don't want it to overwrite anything about Prometheus or Covenant. I think I'd be really upset about that. Yeah. This whole 65 years gap thing, I think it could potentially rewrite Covenant, or it could make this like its own separate canon, but he went on his mission 65 years ago, right? To me, what that says is that they've been travelling across space, him and that crew that are now dead. And obviously it takes so long to get to each planet to pick up these specimens. I think it's 65 years, but they like, the first trip to the first planet was like 15 years. They got one of the specimens, maybe the eyeball monster, whatever. Yeah. Then the next jump was like another like long stretch of time, blah, 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 blah. So that by the time they got to the xenomorph, let's say that was the last specimen they got, that was post-Prometheus, post-Covenant. That's how I headcanon it. And until they explicitly fuck that, that's how it's explained to me.
I agree. That's I rationalised it exactly the same way in my head. Yeah.
He doesn't say that was one hop, does he? So that works to me. Yeah. That works to me.
I agree.
It just no need to rewrite those
No,
old
it
films.
doesn't. This can still exist, and yeah. And I mean, they're already seeming like they're kind of putting some more interest into a different alien in this show anyway. So I don't think you need to go back and start rewriting stuff. I feel like the show already realises that it needs to kind of push the alien franchise forward.
I agree.
Definitely.
And on Morrow, I think we've had some real interesting developments with him. I think the episode 3 chat with Slightly, where he kind of shows a bit of a softer side and almost like a likening to him because he discovers that he's a child. Because it makes him think of his daughter who's no longer around. I really love that bit of characterization where he's just like, she hated raisins, and he says it with such a smile on his face. It's like, these are just like the seemingly inconsequential memories that he has left, to sort of remind us that he's a human, even though he is also a cyborg.
Yeah. I feel like that helps in terms of him tricking him as well, because he knows how to talk to his child, therefore he knows how to talk to children.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's like, I felt like that was quite a warm scene. And then once he realises that Slightly isn't going to do what he wants, because what he's asking is quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially of a child as well. I know synthetic, but he's still a child. Yeah. We then discover that he's got Slightly's mum hostage, and he is willing to torture her and his brothers and family if he doesn't do what he wants. So in episode 4, we see an even more sinister side of Morrow, which we haven't seen up until that point. I think he's a really great character.
I agree.
He's really, there's something really nasty, intimidating about him.
Yeah.
And just coupled with like, just really quite like body horror, cybernetic enhancements. There's nothing like clean about the way he's been enhanced, is there? Like when he like pulls little things out of his like nails and his arms kind of like split apart. Like it's all really
like, even when
grotesque.
He was downloading information, like the second episode, I think.
Oh, with the
he looked like he was there was some sort of, he was sweating. There was some pain to it. It doesn't seem quite as easy as it is for the synthetic.
It feels like he's gotten like, you know, people get like surgery, like metal pins put in them and stuff, and like you can still sort of like feel it, or it's cracking, or it's not, or that the body isn't taking to it. It feels like it's an imperfect mix.
Yeah.
And maybe that kind of explains his temperament a little bit, because he seems, there's a frustration behind his eyes at all times, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see where that's going to go, because it's not all rosy for these kids, is it? Like, you've obviously got Wendy hearing the frequencies of the xenomorphs. and then the issues with her brother where they're kind of like bullying him into staying there if he wants to see
That was a great scene.
her. Well, where the guy from Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I believe he's tooling with you, sir. Well, where he's basically like, well, you can go, but you know,
This is what happens. You have to pay a big bill, and you can't.
Yeah. You're not gonna see your sister, and also we gave you that surgery. It's not for free.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that was really good.
I also like the sort of we're starting to see sort of a breakdown. It feels like between the kids themselves. There's sort of jealousy developing. I mean, we have that character. I can't remember the character's name. The one who's kind of
Curly.
Is that the one?
The dark-haired girl who's like she really wants to be Boy Cavalier's favourite.
Exactly.
Doesn't she?
Yeah. And then there's obviously that great moment once Wendy starts speaking in Xenomorph language, where he's like, well, you know, you can't do that.
I can hear it too. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Be honest with me. And she's really like, no, I can't hear it. Like, yeah, because the thing is, as much as she's going to try and be the favourite, she's definitely not going to be, is she? She's trying too hard, and that's immediately off-putting for him.
No, exactly.
In his ego-warped visage. Boy Cavalier also has been great so far, and I don't know about you, but much like Peter Wayland, I can't wait for him to come unstuck.
Same. I can't wait.
He's such an uber douche.
To see he's like the smile off his face.
100%. I was wondering. Obviously, there's that conversation. There's that scene earlier in the show where he's basically saying the reason why he's doing all this is not because he wants to cheat death, but because he wants to have a conversation with someone as smart as him. I wonder if that eye creature is going to burrow into his skull. Ooh. And then it's one of those things where like it's possessed him, like that's it, but it's also like speaking to him. I wonder if like there's still an element of your consciousness that's left when you're possessed by the eye creature, and maybe that's going to be him having a conversation with something as smart as him, because there's something definitely hyper intelligent about that eye creature.
Definitely, and maybe he gets kind of his kind of a bit like how David is kind of searching for something like that, some sort of meaning or some sort of maybe he becomes sort of the David of this series in terms of like, you know, he's possessed by it, but maybe there's a part of him in there or something.
Yeah,
he's kind of enjoying this.
Like he's satiated by it, even though it's horrific.
Exactly.
I don't know. I can just see something like that because it's like obviously like
that's cool.
It's not going to go the way he expects, is it? And I don't think he's going to get that conversation at the top of the mountain as he describes with one of the synthetic. I think it's going to come through some other way.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that this seemingly grotesque creature is far more vast and infinitely intelligent than we can really comprehend.
Yeah. Especially when I feel like the Yutani stuff is definitely going to come to blows with him at some point. I mean, we actually learnt a lot this episode as well about sort of what's happened to Earth as well, where we kind of discovered that Earth kind of got rid of governments and are now run by like, is it 5 or 6 corporations? Five corporations. Yeah. One of them being obviously Yutani and what's the name of the one that he works underneath? Prodigy. So I think that's going to be interesting, especially when it's like, you know, he has the cargo of Yutani technically right now. I feel like that's definitely going to come more to some sort of blows as well.
I definitely think it's all heating up. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how the next 2 episodes play out as we go in sort of like the twilight stage of this series.
Yeah.
Particularly like with I'm sure her name is Nibs, the ginger synthetic. Seeing her...
the sort of pregnant thing.
Well, yeah, when she said she was pregnant, and they kind of explained to her that she's not, or she can't possibly be. And then there's that horrifying scene where she's with Dame Sylvia, and she gets scared of... I think she like leaps onto her, doesn't she? And obviously, you forget, like, they're super strong and super fast. Like, they will mess you up.
Yeah.
And they've still got the minds of children with all the temperaments and potentially the tantrums. And they've forced their brains into something that like is really hard to comprehend. So of course there's going to be like issues.
Yeah, especially because it's like you've got kids with power they shouldn't be having.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like that's just we know that's a bad idea. You know,
I don't think it's going to end well for her.
No, definitely not. Well, and this is the thing I was kind of saying a bit earlier about all of the. I feel like they're all kind of starting to get a bit divided. All the children, because you have that, and then you also have Slightly coming back, being like, hold on a minute, I can't have my brothers here. How comes you're allowed to have your brother? What makes you so special? And then you have, you know, the guy who changed his name to Isaac as well. And I feel like they're all kind of being like, there's some favoritism happening, and they're all kind of
There's the seeds of rebellion starting within them.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's also kind of like, it's interesting. It's like, I feel like it's forcing them to grow up really quickly, even though they're supposed to be like the kids that don't grow up. I feel like forcing this on them has made them like change in really interesting ways. And then also, of course, with Wendy. at the end of episode 4, this kind of like abomination, even by Xenomorph standards, bursts out of that lung because it's not been given like the proper gestation period. It's not been given like a face hugger. It's almost formed as like a snake. But it also seems to be almost like not aligned to Wendy. I guess we'll find out more as the series goes on. But it seems like almost like it doesn't want to attack Wendy.
Similar to, I feel like, again, mirroring, I feel like David.
Well, also I think as well, like Ripley, when when she has that kind of like human hybrid thing.
Yeah. Breathe on the nose of the horse.
yeah. He'll trust you for life.
yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Also kind of corroborates with, I remember there were rumours ages ago that there was going to be like a not a good alien, it's kind of a misnomer, but like a trained xenomorph. So I wonder if this is actually what that rumour was. Is that it's not like necessarily like a good, like a bred trained xenomorph, but it's like it doesn't understand that Wendy is not one of them.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's something going to be going on with that.
I could see that, especially when you had that whole episode where she's kind of wrangling one of them. She's kind of capturing it. And that's kind of where it leads to now. So
I think it's worked as a TV show because it's been focusing on the synthetics, and there's been a lot to mine there. I think where it's been like a Xenomorph show, it's maybe not been as interesting.
I feel like that was kind of our worry of it being a show in the first place. I feel like, because it's like, how do you stretch out a Xenomorph where the whole point of an Alien movie, or the whole structure that we've seen of Alien movies throughout history, is that the structure of them plays out the way that the alien is birthed. We see it from the face hugger all the way to that's the structure of every Alien movie. So it's like, how do you structure that when it comes to TV? And it's like, I feel like they've had to put more of a focus on the synthetics on the thing. But what I do like is that we are getting a bit of everything from all the Alien movies kind of into one big mishmash. Particularly where it's like, you've got the synthetic who kind of seems somewhat good in Oliphant.
You think he's good?
Well, somewhat good in terms of, I think he's morally, I think we're going to find out that he's a bit morally grey. But in terms of like where we are right now with our protagonists, he's kind of helping them out at the moment. And then we have Morrow, who's more kind of the bad guy at the moment that we know. Which is, I think, obviously the two sort of spectrums we've seen of the Alien franchise.
It's interesting with Kirsch, because I'm kind of like,
there's definitely going to be a turn.
What's going to be... because he's quite invested in studying the Xenomorph.
He also feels like the smartest person in the room. Like, even though the boy genius or whatever, the boy Cavalier is in the room, his hubris, I feel like, is going to be the best. He's going to get the best of him, whereas he kind of doesn't really have that. So I feel like... But
I wonder how much he can create and innovate, because that's kind of what Boy Cavalier's talking about, when he's like, he is smart, but
he can't.
It's not his dissemination of information isn't on par with me. Exactly. But then could he be wrong about that? I wouldn't count Kirsch out of this game of chess.
I agree.
But seeing where everyone ends up in the next episodes, I think it's going to be really interesting. And of course, I guess next time we talk about this, we'll have 2 more episodes to break down.
A huge thank you to Dr. Chike and Peter Vaughan for being my full fat patrons. Your contribution to keeping the channel running is immeasurable. If you'd like to join the Patreon for exclusive goodies, early releases of main videos, the podcast, video scripts, and a thank you in the credits, then please head on over to patreon.com/fullfatvideos to choose one of the paid tiers.